Why do 90% of traders lose money, even when they have a winning strategy? Here's the uncomfortable truth. They're playing a game of probabilities with a mindset built for certainties. Mark Douglas discovered something that Wall Street legends refuse to admit publicly. Your edge isn't in your indicators, your patterns, or your news feed. It's in your ability to think in probabilities. But here's where it gets disturbing. Your brain is literally wired to resist this. The amygdala, that ancient survival mechanism, screams for certainty in every trade. And that's exactly why you're losing. What I'm about to reveal will completely rewire how you approach every single position. If you're still chasing the perfect entry, you've already lost. The most powerful secret in trading psychology isn't about prediction, it's about accepting you'll never know what happens next. Here's the mystery that destroys trading accounts. Intelligent people, armed with proven strategies, tested back tests, and solid risk management plans, still blow up their accounts within months. These aren't gambling addicts or impulsive teenagers. They're disciplined professionals who study charts for hours, journal their trades, and follow their rules religiously. Until they don't. The pattern is eerily consistent. A trader develops a strategy with a 60% win rate. The math is simple. Risk $100 to make $200. Over 100 trades, they should net significant profits. But something strange happens around trade 15. After 3 consecutive losses, they start adjusting their position sizes. By trade 30, they're skipping setups that don't feel right. At trade 50, they're revenge trading to recover from a drawdown. By trade 75, the strategy is unrecognizable, and the account is down 40%. Mark Douglas spent decades studying this phenomenon. He interviewed hundreds of traders, from floor traders at the Chicago Board of Trade to hedge fund managers controlling billions. The question haunted him: why do traders with proven edges still fail? The answer wasn't in their strategies, their capital, or their market knowledge. It was something far more primitive and deeply embedded in human psychology. The mystery deepens when you realize these traders aren't making random mistakes. They're making the same systematic errors, in the same sequence at the same emotional triggers. It's as if there's an invisible force hijacking their decision-making process. And there is. Here's what Douglas discovered. The human brain evolved for survival, not for trading. For 200,000 years, our ancestors faced threats that required immediate, certain responses. See a predator? Run, find food. Eat. Uncertainty meant death. The amygdala, your brain's threat detection system, became incredibly sophisticated at one thing: eliminating uncertainty through pattern recognition and rapid decision-making. This is where trading becomes a psychological battleground. The market operates on probabilities. A 60% win rate means 40% of your trades will lose, and you have absolutely no way to predict which specific trade will be a winner or loser. But your amygdala can't process this. Phone's screaming, this trade must work because the setup is perfect. When it doesn't, your brain interprets it as a threat to your survival, your capital, your identity as a competent trader, your financial security. Douglas identified what he called the certainty addiction. Traders become addicted to the feeling of knowing what will happen next. They develop elaborate rituals, checking multiple time frames, waiting for confirmation, seeking validation in trading forums. These behaviors create an illusion of control and certainty. The irony: these same behaviors destroy their edge by causing hesitation on good setups and overconfidence on mediocre ones. The revelation gets deeper. Douglas proved that trading success isn't about being right. It's about accepting you'll never know if this particular trade will work. Professional poker players understood this decades ago. They don't ask, will I win this hand? They ask over 1,000 hands, does this play have positive expected value? The individual hand is irrelevant. The series of hands is everything. This is why most traders fail even with winning strategies. They're trying to win each trade instead of executing a probabilistic edge over a series of trades. Every loss feels like personal failure. Every win reinforces the illusion that they can predict outcomes. They're trapped in a cycle where their biology fights against statistical reality. The most disturbing part: you can intellectually understand probabilities and still have your amygdala hijack your execution. Knowledge isn't enough. Douglas discovered that transformation requires rewiring your fundamental beliefs about trading itself. Let me simplify this with a powerful analogy. Imagine you're a casino owner. A player walks up to your roulette table and bets $100 on red. The ball spins and lands on black. Did you lose? Absolutely not. You know that over 10,000 spins, the house edge guarantees your profit. You don't care about this spin. You care about the statistical edge playing out over time. Now imagine the casino owner sweating every single spin, celebrating wins, feeling devastated by losses, and changing the table rules after a few bad spins. That casino would go bankrupt in weeks. Yet this is exactly how most traders operate. The shift Douglas advocates is profound. Stop being the gambler hoping for a win and become the casino executing a statistical edge. Your house edge is your trading strategy's positive expectancy. But unlike a casino, you have an amygdala that desperately wants to know the outcome of this trade. The casino owner doesn't care because they've accepted the probabilistic nature of the game. This acceptance isn't resignation, it's liberation. When you truly accept that any trade might lose, even perfect setups, you stop emotional attachment to outcomes. You follow your rules with robotic precision because you're not trying to win this trade. You're executing an edge that wins over a sample size of 100+ trades. The traders who master this shift describe it as trading from a different mental state, calm, detached, process-focused. They're no longer at war with uncertainty. They've made peace with it. If this is blowing your mind, stop right now and hit the subscribe button. Why? Because what comes next will blow up your view on probability thinking and the 5 fundamental beliefs that separate consistent traders from account blowers. And if you don't subscribe, the algorithm will hide my next secrets from you. Here's where it gets more mysterious. Even traders who understand probability thinking still sabotage themselves. They'll say, I know any trade can lose, but then freeze when their setup appears. Or they'll cut winners early to lock in profits while letting losers run to give them room to recover. They understand the theory, but can't execute the practice. Douglas encountered traders who could recite probability theory like a textbook, but still couldn't pull the trigger on valid setups after 2 consecutive losses. One trader he worked with had a strategy that won 68% over 300 trades in backtesting. In live trading, he executed only 40% of his setups, and his actual win rate dropped to 31%. The strategy wasn't the problem. His psychological filter was destroying his edge. The pattern revealed something profound. There's a difference between intellectual understanding and operational belief. You can intellectually know the Earth is round, but if you had a core belief that it was flat, you'd still behave as if it were flat. The same applies to probability thinking in trading. Douglas discovered that traders operate from a set of core beliefs about markets, uncertainty, and money. Beliefs so fundamental they don't even realize they're beliefs. They feel like facts. And these hidden beliefs create an internal conflict between what the trader knows intellectually and what they believe emotionally. The mystery. How do you bridge this gap? How do you transform intellectual knowledge into operational belief? Douglas found the answer in 5 specific beliefs that, when genuinely accepted, fundamentally transform trading execution. Mark Douglas identified the 5 fundamental beliefs that define a trader's mind operating in probability. These aren't motivational phrases, they're precise cognitive frameworks that, when internalized, eliminate the psychological conflicts that destroy trading performance. Belief 1. Anything can happen. This seems obvious until you realize most traders don't really believe it. If you truly believed anything could happen, you'd never be surprised by a loss, never feel betrayed by a market reversal, and never seek certainty in indicators. You'd always have your stop loss in place because anything includes catastrophic moves. Belief 2. You don't need to know what's going to happen next to make money. This directly attacks the certainty addiction. Casinos don't need to know which number hits on the next spin. Edge traders don't need to know if this specific trade wins. They need to know their strategy has positive expectancy over a series. This belief eliminates analysis paralysis and setup perfectionism. Belief 3. There is a random distribution between wins and losses for any given set of variables that define an edge. This is profound. Your strategy might win 60% of the time, but wins and losses will cluster randomly. You might hit 5 winners in a row or 5 losers in a row. Both are normal within a probabilistic framework. This belief eliminates recency bias and the hot hand fallacy. Belief 4. An edge is nothing more than an indication of a higher probability of one thing happening over another. Your edge doesn't guarantee wins. It doesn't even guarantee you'll win more often than you lose. A trader with a 40% win rate, but 3.1 reward-risk ratio, has an edge. This belief prevents overconfidence and keeps risk management paramount. Belief 5. Every moment in the market is unique. No two trades are exactly alike. Even if you see the same setup, the underlying conditions, order flow, sentiment, positioning, volatility regime are different. This belief prevents you from projecting the outcome of your last trade onto your next one. The last trade's result is statistically irrelevant to this trade's outcome. When these 5 beliefs become operational, not just intellectually understood but emotionally integrated, your trading psychology transforms. You stop fighting the market's uncertainty and start dancing with it. Here's your second powerful analogy. Think of trading like flipping a weighted coin. Your edge is that the coin lands on heads 60% of the time. Someone offers you a simple game. Bet $1, and if it lands on heads, you win 1/50. If it lands on tails, you lose $1. Would you play? Obviously, the math is clearly in your favor. Now here's the twist. You must flip the coin 100 times, but you can't see the results until all 100 flips are done. Would you still play? If you truly believed in the 5 fundamentals, you'd play without hesitation. Why? Because you've accepted that. Ideal 1, any single flip can be tails. 2, you don't need to know the next flip's outcome to profit. 3, tails might cluster. You could see 7 tails in a row. And that's just random distribution. 4, your edge is simply that heads appears more over 100 flips. And 5, each flip is independent. The last flip doesn't influence the next. Most traders can't make this shift. They need to see each flip's result. After 3 tails in a row, they'd want to skip the next flip or reduce their bet size. They're trying to predict individual outcomes instead of executing the edge. The traders who internalize these 5 beliefs treat each trade like that weighted coin flip. Execute the setup, accept the outcome, win or loss, and move to the next flip. No drama, no second guessing, no emotional attachment, just mechanical execution of a probabilistic edge. If you're still watching, you are different from most people. Prove it. Leave your like now and subscribe, because people like you deserve to know all the secrets I'll reveal in the next videos. Now for the final and most complex mystery. Traders who've studied Douglas, who understand probabilities intellectually, who've even memorized the 5 fundamental beliefs, still can't execute consistently. They know what they should do, but in the moment, when their capital is on the line, something else takes over. The question that has haunted every trading psychologist: what's the bridge between knowing and doing? Douglas worked with a trader, let's call him Mike, who had a breakthrough moment. Mike had a proven strategy, had studied probability theory, could recite the 5 beliefs perfectly, and had even hired a trading coach. Yet he couldn't stop cutting his winners early. Every single time a trade went into profit, an overwhelming urge would flood his body. Take it now before it disappears. He'd set targets at 3R, 3 times his risk. But he'd bail at 1R or 1.5R almost every time. His win rate was 65%, but his average winner was smaller than his average loser. He was slowly bleeding his account, despite winning more than he lost. The mystery deepened during one session with Douglas. Mike took a trade, and as it moved into profit, Douglas asked him a simple question: "What are you feeling right now?" Mike's response was revealing: "Fear. I'm afraid I'll lose this profit. I can see it turning against me. I feel like I'm being greedy if I hold for my full target." Douglas realized Mike's beliefs about money, loss, and greed were in direct conflict with his trading strategy. Mike had grown up in scarcity. His family struggled financially, and every dollar was fought for and protected. That childhood conditioning created a belief: money in hand is certain, money at risk will be taken away. Here's Douglas's most powerful revelation: trading exposes your deepest beliefs about money, risk, success, and self-worth. The market is a perfect psychological mirror. Every click of the mouse reveals who you really are beneath your self-concept. This is why trading is one of the most challenging psychological endeavors humans attempt. The transformation Mike needed wasn't more technical analysis or tighter rules, it was belief reprogramming. Douglas developed a systematic process for this, but the core insight was profound. You must create new neural pathways that bypass your conditioned responses to money and risk. Douglas outlined a specific approach. First, reduce position size to the point where losses don't trigger emotional responses. Mike dropped from risking $500 per trade to $50. The trades became emotionally neutral. He could watch them without his heart racing. This created a practice environment in live markets. Second, commit to mechanical execution for a defined sample size. Mike committed to execute 50 trades with perfect rule adherence, regardless of outcome. Not 49 trades, exactly 50. The goal wasn't profit, it was process perfection. This shifts focus from outcomes, which you can't control, to execution, which you can control. Third, after each trade, Mike would journal not just the technical outcome, but his internal experience. What was he feeling? What thoughts arose? What urges did he resist or succumb to? This created self-awareness of his psychological patterns. The breakthrough came around trade 32. Mike held a winner to his full 3R target for the first time. It wasn't because he suddenly believed he deserved it, or because the market felt right. It was because he had created a new neural pathway through repetition. The old pathway, cut winners early to protect gains, was still there. But the new pathway, execute the plan mechanically, was now stronger. By trade 50, Mike's psychology had transformed. He wasn't fighting urges anymore. He was calmly executing his edge. His P&L exploded, not because his strategy changed, but because he was finally executing it properly. Over the next 200 trades, his average winner became 2.4R. And with his 65% win rate, he achieved consistent profitability. This is Douglas's ultimate insight. Probability-based trading isn't about understanding math or accepting randomness intellectually. It's about systematically reprogramming your nervous system's response to risk and uncertainty. It's neuroscience meets trading psychology. Here's your final and most powerful analogy. Imagine learning to drive. When you first sit behind the wheel, every action is conscious and effortful. Check mirrors, signal, adjust speed, monitor distance. Your brain is on fire processing everything. You're stressed, uncertain, hyper-aware. This is System 2 thinking, slow, deliberate, exhausting. Now think about your driving today. You navigate complex traffic patterns while having a conversation, adjusting the radio and planning your day. Driving has become automatic, System 1 processing. Your unconscious mind handles it effortlessly. The same transformation must happen in trading. Initially, following your rules requires enormous conscious effort. Every setup triggers internal battles. Should I take this? What if it loses? Let me wait for more confirmation. You're in System 2, exhausting, inconsistent, emotionally draining. But through mechanical repetition over a defined sample size, the process becomes System 1. You see your setup, you execute, you manage according to your rules, and you move to the next trade. No internal conflict, no decision fatigue. Your probability-based trading psychology has become automatic. This is why Douglas insisted on mechanical execution over a fixed sample size. You're not just building a trading track record, you're building new neural pathways. Each trade executed with discipline strengthens the pathway. Each time you resist the urge to deviate, you're literally rewiring your brain. The traders who achieve consistency aren't more disciplined in the moment. They've trained their unconscious mind to execute their edge automatically. They've transformed probability thinking from an intellectual concept into an operational reality. Here's the ultimate truth. 90% of traders fail not because they lack strategy, capital, or intelligence. They fail because they're fighting a battle between their evolved neurology and the probabilistic nature of markets. The traders who break through the consistent 10% have done something extraordinary. They've accepted uncertainty, internalized the 5 fundamental beliefs, and reprogrammed their nervous system through mechanical execution. They've stopped being gamblers hoping for wins and become edge executors, profiting from statistical probability over time. This isn't just trading psychology, it's cognitive transformation. If these secrets blew your mind, you need to see my next videos, but only if you hit the bell icon. Otherwise, you'll lose the most powerful secrets in history. What is your opinion on the ideas presented in this content? Leave it in the comments. Send this news to that friend of yours who has a keen perception. This content is strictly educational and analytical and does not constitute financial advice or investment recommendations.